She vanished from her yard and, for nearly 4 years, the question of where she went has refused to leave the town. Tonight, a new voice says he knows the answer. Not a theory, not a hunch, but a place, Morrison Cemetery. He calls himself Fred, and he insists, plainly and without hedging, that Summer Wells is buried there. That single claim has split online communities, reignited hopes for some, and raised alarms for others. It has also forced investigators and the public to confront the same difficult choice they always face in long, grief-worn cases. When someone offers a specific location, do you treat them as a potential witness or as another source of misdirection? If you follow this channel for ongoing coverage, hit subscribe and turn on the bell so you'll get first-hand updates the moment verified developments emerge. The story you already know in outline. On June 15, 2021, 5-year-old Summer Wells was reported missing from the family property on Ben Hill Road in Hawkins County, Tennessee. Massive searches followed. K-9 teams, volunteers, helicopters, and repeated ground sweeps. Yet no conclusive trace has been found. Years of tips produced leads that fizzled and hopes that were dashed. That long silence is part of what makes a claim like Fred's so explosive. It's not a shadowy theory posted in a forum. It's a name placed on a map, somewhere you can go and check. So who is Fred, and why should anyone listen? In his video, he does not assert official credentials. He does not present documents. He identifies himself simply and proceeds to point to a specific section of Morrison Cemetery, a row near older headstones, a marker he believes is out of place, and a patch of ground he describes as softer and recently disturbed. He says the burial would have been the sort of thing someone familiar with the cemetery could accomplish at night without drawing attention, a calculated choice by someone who knew the grounds. Those are precise details, and precision matters. A vague tip can be dismissed. A precise one forces a response. But specificity also cuts both ways. It can indicate knowledge, or it can be a confident fabrication. That's the fundamental investigative test. The authorities must treat the claim seriously enough to evaluate it, but they must also protect the scene, the family, and the integrity of the inquiry from speculation and well-meaning but damaging public interference. What we need to keep clear is how investigators move from claim to confirmation. The tools are straightforward. Trained cadaver dogs, ground-penetrating radar, documented warrants and permissions, forensic excavation if necessary, and careful chain-of-custody procedures. Cemetery grounds are sensitive. A search there must respect existing graves, legal requirements, and emotional way of the place. That means law enforcement will want reliable corroboration before disturbing marked plots. A call or specificity can provide probable cause to begin preliminary checks, but it does not itself prove anything. It's also important to compare Fred's assertion with the official record. Publicly released search maps and TBI statements show extensive canvassing around the Wells property and nearby terrain. Creeks, ravines, outbuildings, and roadways. Cemeteries were not listed among the primary early search sites in publicly disclosed materials. That could reflect investigative judgment based on the original leads and the family's early accounts. It does not necessarily mean a cemetery was ignored for lack of interest. But it does mean that if Morrison Cemetery was never subject to a forensic sweep with the same intensity as other locations, a renewed, properly sanctioned examination could be warranted if the tip meets the legal standard investigators require. Online reaction was predictable and fast. Within hours of the video circulation, amateur sleuths and true crime channels had clipped the claim, overlaid cemetery maps, and started crowdsourced attempts to match Fred's description to real headstones. That community energy can help in a case. Someone local might recognize Fred or recall odd activity in 2021, but it can also create harm. Uncoordinated searches by private citizens risk disturbing potential evidence, contaminating a scene, or causing emotional injury to the family. That's why the responsible line is clear. Anyone with information should provide it to law enforcement, not dig on their own. So how credible is Fred's video? Unknown. No credentials, no corroborating documents, no recorded admission of involvement. Only a confident declaration and specific directions. Credibility in cases like this is built over time through independent verification. Investigators will want to trace Fred's background, confirm whether he has any ties to the area or to people connected with the Wells family, and determine how he acquired this information. Did he overhear it? Is he repeating what someone else told him? Or does he have first-hand knowledge? Each possibility carries different investigative implications. Witness, confidant, co-conspirator, or fabricator. There's a darker question here, too. If the claim proves true, how many people knew and said nothing? That thought is part of what makes cemetery theories so painful. A cemetery implies finality. It implies a burial, a concealment, a degree of planning. That's why many missing person cases that end tragically involve painstaking checks of unlikely but plausible locations, places where someone might think they could hide something and not be noticed. If someone told investigators they thought a cemetery had been used and the tip was credible, investigators would pursue it. But they must do so within the law and with respect for the living and the dead. If you're watching this, your role matters, but it must be exercised responsibly. If you recognize the voice, the face, or the details Fred describes, and you have a verifiable memory or evidence, such as photos, messages, or a reliable timeline, pass that information to the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation or local law enforcement rather than posting it publicly. A verified tip that leads investigators to a specific site and that is backed by forensics can be the difference between a rumor and a case-making lead. For now, this claim has done two things. It has forced a question into the light. Was there a place investigators did not fully examine? And it has acted as a public test of how the community and investigators handle an unverified but specific allegation. The correct response is not reflexive digging, nor is it shrugging and ignoring it. It is a careful, evidence-led approach. Review the tip, verify the tip, and if necessary and legally permissible, put trained resources to work. We will continue to follow this closely. In our next segment, we'll map Morrison Cemetery against the search zones the TBI has released, identify what, if any, public searches were done there, and outline the exact legal steps investigators would take should they decide to examine that spot fully. We will also share guidance for anyone who thinks they recognize Fred, what to collect, how to document it, and where to submit it so it helps rather than harms the inquiry. Summer Wells' family deserves answers that are confirmed, not speculation that just reopens grief. If you have precise, verifiable information about Morrison Cemetery or about any other possible location related to this case, contact the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation through their official tip line. Do not attempt to investigate or disturb any grave site yourself. Leave the forensics to trained professionals. Stay with us for updates. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you'll receive verified developments the moment authorities confirm them. This is not about chasing clicks. It's about keeping attention on a case that has gone too long, without resolution. If Fred's claim is a breakthrough, we'll report it carefully and responsibly. If it's a false lead, we'll show why it was rejected and what that means for the broader search. Either way, we owe Summer and the people who loved her a search for truth that's relentless, but also accurate and humane. We will keep following every credible lead. We will separate rumor from evidence. And we will keep asking the hard questions until the story is answered. If you can help in a verifiable way, do so now through official channels.